This is the race committee. The wind sampling period is complete, and this race is live.
So we have official recognition that we are good to go. Stephen McIver, two-time gold medalist at the Olympics. Shirley Robertson, three-time America's Cup winner. Glenn Ashby and Peter Lester on the water now. Chase Zero, which is our hydrogen boat, and there she goes. Alinghi Red Bull Racing. It's well known. They've had the mast snapped 2 days ago. They're back in racing and looking strong.
Not far away from entry here in race number 1 of the preliminary series here. Getting ready to enter now, pre-start, all important part of the race here to get off the start line with an advantage over your opponent.
So they are way late coming in.
Don't want to do the second in front of
So due and add to 2 minutes and 10 seconds. 2 minutes
This is
will
the
be
umpires, boundary penalty France, boundary penalty France.
So the French really late there on entry. Massive advantage there already to Alinghi Red Bull Racing here in the pre-start, Shirley.
It's sometimes quite hard though, isn't it, when they're so behind, just to know what strategy to take. But they'll be concentrating on time and distance back, when to turn, if to chase the French, or just to let them go.
Ok, par là c'est pas mal, il fait un circling.
Bordin.
Ouais. Fais-toi le bruit,
Ouais, j'ai.
C'est bon?
Ouais, c'est bon. Ouais, oui. Ouais, j'ai un. Pas de...
Okay, as you are timing now. 1 minute pin. I think it's good moment.
So you can hear the comms there on the kill time. 1 minute to the pin. French still in this, it's not over. There's such separation here. Alinghi will actually drive around trying to get the advantage over the French here because there was such a separation. It has really changed the game of what they'll actually be trying to do in the pre-start. So pressure back on Alinghi now to make sure they execute well from here.
Let's remember, this is the first time that they've raced. This is a big deal and a big day.
You're going down?
5 pin. Play attack for it. Or down.
Keep going.
Pin is open, 10 to the boat.
Ok, late pin.
Okay, going up.
No rush, no rush.
4. Alright. Almost race.
30 seconds and counting to the official start of race 1 and the preliminary regatta brought to you by Louis Vuitton off the coast of Barcelona. Alinghi Red Bull Racing, Orient Express Racing.
Is on 12.
Might have to in some time.
No problem. Can we start anyway, no?
Yeah, we can start anyway. They are gaining time.
You'd have to say Alinghi Red Bull Racing here in a fairly strong position coming down there. French looking late to me from here. It should be quite a big advantage.
We are good to go. We are officially underway on the road to the 37th America's Cup. Alinghi Red Bull Racing, Orient Express Racing, first out of the gate.
It looked to me like Orient Express weren't really firing on all cylinders. Something's not quite right in the boat, and hopefully we'll hear from them soon.
Let's go into the water. Chase Zero, Peter Lester. What did you make at the start? Everything okay with both boats, you think?
Yeah, I just think the French were late and probably they paid the price procedurally. It's so important to be very accurate in pre-start, but I just think the French probably had issues getting their time on distance right for that entry, but we've seen they've got good pace. They'll be trying to just claw back vital boat lengths as they go up leg 1.
Nice boat.
Pretty straightforward manoeuvre here for Alinghi, just hitting the French here, keeping in between them and the mark. It's a pretty straightforward match racer here from them. The French have really got not many options here apart from just trying to keep their air clean and actually keep in touch and try and claw back a little bit of ground by sailing the boat accurately from here.
We have been fortunate enough in the last couple of days to see some practice racing. We did see a similar situation open up when the French took on the British. They will not let go. They may have started later, may cost them, but they will not let go.
You're only one mistake away from a big gain or a big loss here. So with these slightly choppy conditions, the boats are a little bit tricky to sail. So both teams here will be pushing to sail the boats pretty hard and pretty high on the ride height. So as we see the French there tacking back towards Alinghi, should be another straightforward manoeuvre for Alinghi, just basically making them pay their tax all the way up to speed with 30 air coming off the back of their sail plan.
Alinghi have been based here for the last 2 years. They have done more hours on the racetrack than any of the other teams, and we see them also really protecting that right-hand side. I'm pretty sure that that's the trend, that throughout the day the wind goes in that direction and more breeze towards the beach.
The opening leg of 6, up and down. That's 3 laps, they call it, 6 legs, and we're heading towards the top mark for the first time. It makes a beautiful view on the coast of Barcelona.
Patching, I think. Good.
What is good?
Packing.
One, or down. And turning.
Classic match racing move there, Shirley, from Alinghi Red Bull Racing. The guys look like they're sailing the boat really well, really accurately, and you know, nice clear communications on board.
Tough nationality rules for AC37. I mean, your whole team needs to be from your country, so they really kind of had to start nearly afresh. Young guys, but they've really put in the hours and the experience of a cup-winning team behind them.
Yeah, a lot of depth within their team, a lot of experienced campaigners over the years in multiple America's Cups. So while they're a young team on the water, they've certainly got a depth of talent behind them, and that balance of youth and enthusiasm and depth of talent is certainly key.
Heading into gate 1 for the first time, it will be Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Confident start for them as they head to that top gate.
5, 3, 2, 1,
The one thing you will see and notice at the bottom, you'll see the speed. You watch those speeds rise when they head downwind. Followed through by Orient Express.
Well, we had 8 tacks on that first upwind, Stephen. Plenty of work for the cyclors and a real classic match racing move.
Yeah, only a deficit there of 12 seconds, you know, behind for the French. So that's a little bit of a deficit, but again, only a couple of wobbles there, and you're back in the game again. So the race is definitely not over at this point in time. A lot of racing to go in this race.
Let's go on to one of the chase boats. This is Pietro Sabello, who is the coach of Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Good afternoon to you, Pietro. Nice start.
Yeah, hi guys. Yeah, nice start. The plan was to have a solid race, solid start. We like the right side with more pressure, and yeah, for the moment the guys are following the plan, and the race looks solid.
The boys, Pedro, look like they're doing a really nice job, mate, of sailing the boat. So the coaching team have obviously done a great job. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. Still long race. Let's see how it moves forward.
Thank you, Pedro. Appreciate the time.
Okay, we had crossing point. He jibe, we jibe. I think we might get a right.
So the one thing we did warn you about was downwind the speeds would crank up, and as you can see, they're already sitting to 43, 44 knots downwind. We can let you into a little bit of a secret that when they get going, we have already cracked the 50-knot mark, and oh my gosh, that is so exciting.
Well, you look at 12.6 knots of wind, and they're doing 43, you know, 41, 42 knots of boat speed. Pretty incredible to be doing over 3 times wind speed in these conditions.
If you were a fan of the America's Cup and you watched it in Auckland, I'm sure your draw is dropping here. I mean, what a transformation. They seem faster, more manoeuvrable. It just full on. What a change, Glenn.
Yeah, these Gen 3 boats are really a step up in efficiency.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shortening the course to 1.85 nautical miles.
A little bit of information there from Melanie Roberts from the race committee there, just a little course change. So breeze has obviously changed a little bit there for the teams, and they'll all have that information displayed on their instrumentation, and that'll be changing the boundaries and the length of their routing for them. So some great racing here as they're coming downwind now.
How radical do you think Alinghi is? Look at her, she looks like a machine.
Very impressive at how aggressive they've taken this on in this America's Cup. They really, you know, were new to the table, very much so in the design, and I think they've done a brilliant job with what they've done. So really exciting to see some differences between the boats, and who knows, you know, they're a strong team. They could have nailed it on the head. It's really pleasing to see.
Yeah, they've been fast on this round, taken nearly 100 metres from the French team.
So approaching the bottom gate for the first time, Alinghi Red Bull racing with that around 200-metre gap on the French, and they go around. Watch them go around, both boards down and then back up, and the port cantarm comes up and they're off again, followed around by Orient Express Racing. Looks easy, can actually be quite difficult.
Yeah, quite difficult to turn these boats. You're basically trying to do a hairpin turn with 7 tonnes of inertial mass all trying to go in a straight line. So those foils really having to grip the water hard to turn those boats, and both teams doing a great job.
Yeah, let's look at the wind field. The green, more wind, blue, less. Obviously, the sailors can't see this. They're just looking at the sea like normal, but it looks fantastic on the left-hand side at the bottom of the track. Alinghi tacking, they've obviously seen that also.
Well, we're the lucky ones, and the folks at home, wherever they're watching around the world, get to see technology that the sailors sadly do not get to see, and it's already stuck in my head. Green is good.
We're going to make a tactical genius of you yet, Stephen.
It'll take a while.
So Orient Express Racing made up a second on that downwind from the top mark, so they're not dropping back. So they're actually, if they can keep their bow clear and sailing clean air, you know, they might be able to chip away. If they can mow the boat well and sail it accurately and stay in touch, the race remains open.
Let's go to Chase Zero, Pete.
Yeah, both boats are coming across directly on starboard towards us. It's just interesting. The French are up to windward and they're holding lane really nicely. Alinghi were strong immediately off the tack, probably when they got in that little fresher breeze, but I'd be thinking there that the French have made a nice little gain coming across on starboard.
Yeah, copy, Pete. Thinking similar sort of things here. I think surely you'd have to agree that you know, both boats being sailed really well, and you know, the race is on.
Yeah, it's impressive, isn't it? First time that they've actually raced. That level looks so high. Orient Express, remember, they bought a design package from Emirates Team New Zealand. They have a sister ship to the Defender, and they're certainly not lacking for pace.
Both boats looking really nice through the water there, and Stephen, as we're sort of coming up the beat here, it's really interesting to see these boats really racing for the first time in anger, really looking clean and tidy.
Well, you might suggest, looking at the numbers, that they have picked up about 80 or 90 metres, the French, on that bottom mark, where they were about 200 behind. So this upwind leg has been a strong one for Orient Express Racing as we head towards the top mark and get to the halfway point of this race.
Yeah, really nice tack there by Orient Express Racing. They'll be really happy with that, and just need to lock the boat in, get it really dialed in here, and you know, they won't be too far out of the picture. So it's all about millimetres in these games. So all the little movements, all the little trimming that the boys will be doing, the cyclors powering those hydraulic pumps to adjust all the sail plan. It's a real choreography that they need to get dialed in to get these AC75s around the track cleanly.
Glenn, it's like they've been given the keys to the Ferrari. They just have to work out how to get it around the track. You have been coaching with the French. You know, how quickly are they learning?
Yeah, well, lots of learning. Let's go down to the water. Chase Zero, Pete, what do you got?
I'm just seeing a slight drop in the pressure in the wind speed, and I think through that lighter phase, you know, from the bottom mark to about where they are now, it just looked like the French had a little bit better pace on leg 3 coming up to the stop mark.
So Alinghi Red Bull Racing heading towards the top mark, and it'll be Potentially they'll take that, as you can see it, the right-hand mark, as you said, it'll be the left-hand mark to them. And that gap is just slightly extended, but the French are not letting them go. They're just hounding them. Alinghi Red Bull Racing around the top mark and completing the halfway mark of race number 1 in the Louis Vuitton Preliminary Regatta. What's the gap? 13 seconds. It was 12 seconds the last time, so marginal.
I think you'd have to say there was a little bit of snakes and ladders on that last sort of upwind and downwind, so both teams, you know, pushing really hard here to sail the boats well, and the French team are really going to need to pull something out of the bag here to claw the team of Alinghi Red Bull Racing back. Very, very even in performance looking at this stage of the game.
But as you said, you are one poor manoeuvre away from it all folding. So yeah, keep it tight. I mean, that has to be the strategy of Orient Express.
Well, while we're talking about Orient Express, we've got to remember this is a team that received their boat late, very late, and they took, as Shirley quite rightly said, took their design package and the whole thing from Emirates Team New Zealand. And you have been involved. Their learning is vertical. It's literally at full speed.
Absolutely, the team have done a fantastic job to get the boat on the water. You know, not only the sailing team, obviously getting it around the track, but the whole team, the shore crew, the designers back in the base there, doing a brilliant job of getting the boat together and learning how to use it. Just on board now, having a listen.
Let's go onto the water now, the chase boat now, and Coach Thierry Doulard is with us from Orient Express Racing. You'd be fairly happy with the way the team are sailing this boat at the moment, wouldn't you, Thierry?
Yeah, so far we just need to have a start and to be able to be further guys at the beginning, because after it's way harder because they're sailing well, but in terms of performance it looks like we're okay, we're pushing them, so still one lap to go and we'll see what's going on.
Well, I suppose the learning curve is a large one, and those starts will be something you've got plenty of time to work on, but they're hanging in there as we expect. Thanks for your time, Thierry.
Thanks, mate.
We've got the French team sailing up the exhaust pipe a little bit here of Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Just a couple of little gains there to the French coming down here. Possibly pressure related, but the gap I think is not quite as much as it was at the top mark, so really interesting here as they're coming down. Definitely some puffs and lulls on the course. You can see the darker patches in real life on the water, but we do have the advantage now of being able to see it real time across the whole course, and I wish I had that on board when I was sailing back in the day.
Surely as they head towards the bottom gate, you've sailed here. I might come to you after they get round the bottom mark and we complete leg number 4 as Alinghi Red Bull Racing again lead in Orient Express Racing to complete leg number 4 of this opening race in the Louis Vuitton Preliminary Regatta, heading towards the Louis Vuitton 37th America's Cup. And around they go. They take the left marker. Alinghi Red Bull Racing, both boards down.
Yeah, following.
And then followed by Orient Express Racing. So it's a mirror image of what they've been doing, but surely you know this water, you've sailed on this water. Sea state is something we've been talking about in the lead up. It is a washing machine.
Yeah, Stephen, I mean, I did the Olympics here way back when I was very young, and I've sailed here quite a lot. It is the overriding factor here. The waves never quite line up from the wind, and it's something that teams have taken into consideration at every decision-making level, the design level and systems, everything. It has been crucial to work out how to foil in the fastest race boats on the planet in a very confused sea. Not easy, Glenn.
No, definitely not easy, but having a look at the breeze here, we've actually got the French lining up this puff that's actually coming down the course. That darker green and then into the lighter green, that is more pressure. Where Alinghi Red Bull Racing are, you can see there slightly lighter phase as they go across, so it'll be interesting to see how the snakes and ladders work out over the next sort of minute or so here as they go upwind. The French look like they're really ripping through that puff now, so they've got the hammer down.
Let's go on to chase zero, Pete. What are you seeing?
Yeah, both boats are heading directly at us. We're over on the left, and Alinghi at the moment are slightly bow up, but It looks like Orient have got a bit more pressure down to leeward, but they certainly look impressive. Their forestays are just rock solid in terms of the rig loads that they're using in this about 12 knots.
Alinghi there just giving the French absolutely no breathing room whatsoever. They're just absolutely landing on there, just not making their life easy at all. So the dirty air coming off the back of Alinghi Red Bull Racing, it's sort of second hand here, if you like, that basically the turbulence behind the boat affects the boat behind. So you see the French there having to sort of clear their air whenever they can to make sure they've got a fresh air intake coming onto the sail plan.
I've been impressed with Alinghi Red Bull Racing, really calm decision making. They've had a plan at every stage of the race, and we've heard that on the onboards.
Yeah, super impressive to see, Shirley. They're really sailing the boat really, really well. Very clinical operation at the moment on board there from the young team, and obviously a lot of time and effort gone into it. They have been here the longest out of all the teams, so this will be another day at the office for them.
You do the same, yeah. Okay. Anchor in 5. 3, 2, 1.
Ball's going down. And turning.
2, 1. Up.
We're just on the edge of the righting, so might get an header.
Penalty again.
If they tack, we tack, okay?
Fantastic shots on board there of the aero side of the boats, and then the French again having to clear their air, just get a nice fresh lot of air under the sail plan again. It's really, really classic match racing here. Alinghi Red Bull Racing not giving the French anything. They're just saying, sorry boys, you're going to be eating some dirt for quite a while.
And that would be a good start. You're a match racing coach. Look at them going, you got the start, but you also held them off because we know what the French can do.
Something was going on with the French there. I think the systems wasn't quite working, or the electronics, or they were so far off that start, and I'm sure they've been really frustrated by that, because now actually they're up to pace and they're sailing well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to find out what happened there at the start for the French. Pretty straightforward from here for Alinghi Red Bull Racing. They'll be just left turn at the top here by the look of things. The tack, they'll be just looking for a clean execution of this top sector of the course, and then pretty much a delivery to the finish from there.
And that's something you always talk about to us, about the efficiency, the execution of the manoeuvres. This makes such a difference. We reference F1 and how you go in and out of corners. Same thing. Get it wrong, get it wrong, get it right, and away you go. And Alinghi Red Bull Racing will lead Orient Express Racing down on the home leg number 6 for the win, potentially. Never say never in the world of sport. As Orient Express Racing now approach the top mark for the last time in race 1 of this Louis Vuitton Preliminary Regatta. Take the opposing mark and head downwind for the final time.
A lovely shot of the foils right there, and there's been quite a lot of changes to the AC75 since the last time. It is lighter, there's less people. The foil arms are longer, a good bit longer, nearly 400 mil, 500 mil.
Yeah,
so
they are, Shirley.
It's a lot more maneuverable, and we're going to see a lot more action.
Yeah, the boats are really efficient as we're looking down the course here, and a great view there of the wind field from Cap Gemini. You really get to see the pressure there, and you see Alinghi, a nice breeze at the moment, but sort of having to transition a few lulls as they go through there. The French jibing on the boundary there. Really, the only option at the moment is for the French is that Alinghi do make a mistake in one of their manoeuvres, but they're sailing the boat well, so I don't think that's going to happen.
And of course, they're sailing so fast, they're sailing into the new breeze. The breeze isn't coming from behind like regular sailors would do. There's no need to look behind, is there? It's all coming from in front.
That's the thing. You're always looking forwards, and sailing downwind, you're actually looking hundreds of metres in front of what sort of breeze that you're actually sailing into. And some fantastic shots there of Alinghi Red Bull Racing, absolutely boosting downwind there. Speed of the boat there, around 43 knots of breeze, 12 knots of wind, so absolutely incredible efficiency. As you said, Shirley, the foils, these horizontals there. You can see some cavitation developing on the top surface of those foils on the suction side or the lifting side of the foils. Those foils are now 800 millimetres longer than they were in the previous version, so a lot more efficient. The glide of the boat's very good and the performance going up and up.
How hard is it to sail at, what, 20 centimetres off the water and just keep looking? It looks like it's on rails.
Practice makes perfect, and these teams certainly put a lot of time and effort in on the simulator and out on the water, and Alinghi's certainly no shortage of time on the water here in Barcelona.
Okay, 2, 1, cross going down. And turning. +4. Much tighter at the bottom.
No mistake there from Alinghi, so French running out of options here, coming in towards the finish.
We are experiencing sailing like we've never seen before at speeds and competition like we have never seen before. And Alinghi Red Bull Racing are about to get the first point on the board in the Louis Vuitton Preliminary Regatta. They have done it well, and there they go. They cross the line, and Alinghi Red Bull Racing will take the 1 point for the win against Orient Express Racing. And the learning continues, goes on for Orient Express Racing. They'll sit back and look at that start and wonder what if. And they will cross the line and they'll come up as hard as sport is. No points. 1 point for the win, 0 for the second place getter in the Louis Vuitton Preliminary Regatta. The win goes to Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
A really solid performance there by Alinghi Red Bull Racing. I think the whole wider team, will be very, very pleased with that result. And after a bit of a disaster a couple of days ago, they're back on the water again, and what a solid performance. 36-second lead there over Orient Express Racing, and they take the win here in race 1.
Well, actually, the Swiss outfit did really well. They positioned for their own start, stayed high, beautiful timing. Really just didn't get involved with the French, who were having all their own issues. And from here, pretty hard race for Orient Express. And Alinghi Red Bull Racing covered them all the way.
Yeah, coming into gate 3 here, it was really a little gain back to the French, but Alinghi Red Bull Racing just sailing the boat so beautifully around the track and really not giving the French any opportunity to make a passing manoeuvre.
Well, it was a massive win in the end for Alinghi Red Bull Racing, and they'll take a lot from that. Remember, this is practice racing and a lot of lessons to be had.
So first points on the board of this preliminary regatta to Alinghi Red Bull Racing. And one of the helmsmen is Arno Sarafagis. He joins us right now. Nice start to the regatta. Congratulations. Happy with everything?
Yes, yeah, I think I'm really happy with everything. We actually executed the plan as we wanted. A few adjustments from yesterday practice race. There is still many things to improve, but the team did a really fantastic job, and we just work on the details, and it's always great to get the first win of the series. Yeah.
All right, appreciate the time, mate. Go well in the rest of the regatta. Let's go across now to Orient Express Racing. Quentin Delapierre, who is on helm for Orient Express. Quentin, what happened at the start?
We did too many mistakes, and at this level is not correct, and we just give the start to Alinghi, so just need to regroup.
This is the race committee.
That's
That's 10 minutes to the
Are you
start
willing
of
to
match
just
2.
listen to maybe
New
a
Zealand
couple of
entering
a
on
mistake
port,
that you made at the
Italy
start?
entering on starboard, course 6.
sorry, I have the race management in the comps, so I didn't hear you.
Quentin, are you willing to just give us an indication as to one of the mistakes you may have made at the start?
Yeah, we missed the entry, and after that we were not able to take the strategy of the start correctly, so put us under pressure, and we just need to do things better.
All right, appreciate the time, buddy.